2. Epoxy flooring systems may be applied over any sound substrate except surfaces of asphalt. 3. The main difference between a builder's level and a theodolite/transit is that the builder's level moves only in the horizontal plane. 4. A masonry chimney is located within 10 horizontally of a roof ridge. The roof ridge is 21 above the ground. The top of the chimney must be at least above the ground. 23 ft. 5. When using single-ply gypsum board on sidewall framing space 24O.C, the minimum thickness of the gypsum board shall be 1/2. 6. A scaffold platform to be used by workers is 8 high and 41 wide. According to OSHA, what is the approximate height of the required guardrails for this platform? 3845. 7. When modifying an existing structure, work area having occupancy greater than 50 and a travel distance greater than 75 shall have a minimum of egress doors. 2. 8. When constructing a gable-end masonry wall which is not continuous to the roof diaphragm, what is the minimum height to the bond beam? 12 inches. 9. With regard to reinforcing bars, the term deformed bar identifies a standard ASTM rebar. 10. Signs projecting from a building or extending over public property shall maintain a clear height above the sidewalk of 8 ft. 11. When using slip forms, one of the more important factors is low concrete slump. 12. When attaching a single layer of 5/8 thick gypsum board to framing members using perpendicular orientation, the maximum spacing of framing members is 24 OC. 13. What function do the pile caps serve? The pile cap distributes the load from the columns evenly to the piles. 14. On tower cranes, towers must be erected plumb to a tolerance of at least 1:500. 15. Is the maximum air leakage rate for skylights without a condensation weepage opening. 0.2. 16. Single trusses with spans of what maximum length may be positioned near the peak of the truss? 20 ft. 17. Concrete in footings shall have a compressive strength of not less than 2,500 psi. 18. What material provides tensile strength, compression strength and shear strength to the cross-section of a concrete beam? Reinforcing steel. 19. The minimum thickness floor sheathing that may be used in a dry surfaced area on supporting members spaced 16 OC is May 8. 20. The addition of a window in an existing building would be classified as a Level 2 alteration. 21. What calculation method is not acceptable when calculating R values of concrete block? Parallel path method. 22. The basic components of tubular steel scaffolding include all of the following except couplers. 23. Vertical spacing of prefabricated joint reinforcement shall not exceed on masonry chimneys 18 inches. 24. Which of the following are made of either metal or concrete, and are used for location control of reinforcing during concrete pours? Chairs, bolsters and spacers. 25. plans indicate 2 ADA parking spaces and an access aisle. Parking space for these 2 spaces. 29 foot. 26. What is the distance between rows of bolts and structural steel called? Gauge. 27. The minimum allowable thickness for a single-ply gypsum board applied to sidewall framing having a maximum spacing of 16 OC shall be 3/8 inches. 28. What is the required fire resistance in hours for an interior bearing wall in Type IB construction that supports one floor only? 2 hours. 29. How many views are normally used to show the elevations of a building? 4. Front, rear and 2 sides. 30. Each employee on a self-contained adjustable scaffold more than _feet above a lower level shall be protected from falling to a lower level. 10 feet. 31. The certificate of compliance in accordance with the approved construction documents, and with SJI, shall be submitted by the steel joist manufacturer. 32. Construction material and equipment shall not be located within _ of a street intersection. 20 foot. 33. What is a person called who can identify hazardous substances and take corrective measures to eliminate them? A competent person. 34. Which of the following surface conditions must be removed from reinforcing bars before placement? Well. 35. For which function is using a laser level not appropriate? Distance measuring. 36. Increase in strength with age continues as long as any unhydrated cement is still present, provided the concrete remains moist, or has a relative humidity above approximately _ and the concrete temperature remains favorable. 80%. 37. Spaces undergoing a change of occupancy shall comply with Florida Building Code in the increased demand for electrical energy. 38. On a large pour, the contractor wanted to retard the rate of setting of the concrete to facilitate placing and finishing. One method of achieving this is to cool the mixing water. 39. In design of reinforced concrete structures, the unit mass of normal density concrete and reinforcing steel bars is commonly assumed to be 145 PCF. 40. Where roof drains for overflow water are required, what is the maximum number of inches that scuppers may be placed above the roof surface in the wall? 4 inches. 41. On a wood-framed structure with vinyl siding, clearance between the exterior wall covering and final earth grade of the exterior of a building shall not be less than _ for termite inspection purpose. 6 inches. 42. What is the swell factor for well-blasted rock? 20%. 43. What is the maximum total air loss for concrete during transportation to the job site and placement by concrete pump? 5%. 44. 18-span wood trusses are to be manually installed. At what point should the truss be supported? Peak. 45. Which of the following is not needed to lay out a building? Screed. 46. Lower a toe board shall be required along the edge of platforms more than _ above lower levels for a distance sufficient to protect employees below. 10 feet. 47. It is most important to know that until the structure of a pre-engineered structural steel frame building is fully bolted and all sheathing and bracing is certified in place, the building may be susceptible to movement. 48. When a single layer of gypsum panel product is installed on sidewall framing perpendicular to framing and spaced at 24.0°C, the minimum thickness of the gypsum board required is 1/2 inch. 49. Who is responsible for verifying truss drawing dimensions and job site layout? The builder. 50. In friction type and bearing type structural steel connections, which one of the following ASTM bolt types is not usually specified? A316. 51. What type of eye protection for the operation of a laser level in a construction project? Glasses of optical densities from 5 through 8. 52. It is important to know PAMs are structurally designed as optimized structures, meaning they have very little room for alterations or additions to the structure. 53. Assume a total load of 40 pounds per square foot. According to Florida Building Code, plywood roof sheathing, CD grade, with unblocked edges, continuous over 2 or more spans, face grain perpendicular to support, and a span rating number of 40/20 shall have a maximum span of 32. 54. A_ is parallel to the direction of travel. Running slope. 55. When used in an official document such as a contract, OSHA law, Florida lien law, etc., the words shall and should mean underscore and underscore respectively. Mandatory, recommended. 56. What is the swell factor for dry clay? 35%. 57. What is the live load of 1/2 structural sheathing in pounds per square foot with a maximum spacing of 24? 40 pounds. 58. What is the maximum length of a walking surface segment of an accessible route when the clear width is reduced to 32? 24. 59. When pouring concrete slabs on grade, and steel dowels are used in expansion joints, what is the usual on-center spacing of dowels? 12. 60. When testing soil compaction, the optimum moisture content will be achieved when the soils is at maximum dry density. 61. A set of warehouse plan specifications calls for isolation joints in the concrete slab floor. Where should the isolation joints occur? Where slab movement may be restrained. 62. Elevators shall be provided with Phase I emergency recall and Phase II emergency in-car operation for firefighters' emergency operation in accordance with ASME A17.1. 63. When erecting a steel frame building, permanent floors should be installed as the erection progresses. What is the maximum number of stories between the erection floor and the uppermost permanent floor? 8-story. 64. When measuring with a transit, builder's level, or laser level, the difference in rod readings at the 2 points is the difference in elevation. 65. When acoustical tile is applied directly to a substrate, the adhesive, when pressed into place, should be approximately 2.5 to 2 3/4 in diameter and underscore thick. 1/8. 66. Cut slopes for permanent excavations shall not be steeper than underscore %. 50%. 67. Which of the following is not a concern when designing formwork? Forms shall be designed to maintain temperature and humidity during placement. 68. When placing concrete directly on soil, the subgrade must be properly prepared. A moist subgrade is particularly important when placing flatwork, such as slab and pavements, in hot weather. 69. The handrail height measured above the finished surface of a ramp slope shall be uniform, and not less than _ or more than _ 34, 38. 70. Setback for building construction should be noted on the _ page of construction documents. Site plan. 71. What is a factor that affects lateral pressure on formwork? Rate of placement. 72. Sheet metal roofing is a popular choice for a roofing membrane. Various profiles are available, offered in three basic shapes including flat, ribbed, and corrugated. 73. In the mixture design of concrete, the addition of 8.4 pounds of water per cubic yard of concrete to increase slump by 1 will cause air content to increase by what percentage point in low to moderate slump concrete? 1/2 to 1. 74. Provisions of residential construction, an insulation material with a manufacturer's R value of 30, that has been compressed to 60% of its rated thickness, shall be considered to have an R value of 22. 75. Employee entrances exposed to debris from overhead should be protected by a canopy that extends a minimum of 8 feet from the building, 2 feet wider than the opening and capable of supporting 150 pounds per square foot. 76. After introduction of water, concrete shall be delivered and discharged within _ hours. 1½ hour. 77. Children's use areas are to be designed for persons under _ years of age. 12. 78. When installing structural insulated panels, SIP, or other types of insulation board, to maintain the air barrier, it is important that all joints be what? Staggered and sealed. 79. If a modification or addition affects the load capacity or safe operation of equipment, who is required by OSHA to review this issue? Manufacturer. 80. Computing excavation volume through use of grids and prisms is known as cross-sectional method. 81. What is the purpose of deformations on reinforcing steel bars? To provide anchorage of concrete to reinforcing steel. 82. What is the minimum nail length for installing 1/2 gypsum panel product over wood framing? 1 1/4. 83. What is a principal cause of surface defects in concrete slabs? Finishing while bleed water is on the surface. 84. What is the action level for lead per cubic meter over an 8-hour time weighing average? 50 micrograms. 85. Who should verify building dimensions and proper bearing locations for the truss installation? Builder. 86. Wood floor trusses are used for spans from _ to as long as _ 12-70. 87. When using a spreader bar to lift trusses with spans greater than 60, the spreader bar should be approximately 2/3 to 3/4 of the truss length and fastened at or above mid-height to the top cord and web members at 10 intervals. 88. When installing a masonry firebox where firebrick is not at least too thick or other approved liner has not been provided, the back and side shall consist of solid masonry or reinforced concrete with a thickness no less than 10 inch. 89. Typical deflection limits for formwork for the various components are usually a maximum span of L/360, but not to exceed 1/16 inch for sheathing and 1/4 inch for joists and beams. 90. When planning for the construction of a parking lot, what is the maximum surface slope ratio, allowed by Florida law, for handicapped parking spaces and access aisles? 148. 91. Aggregates such as hematite, barite and limonite are used to produce heavyweight concrete. 92. 9.5 standard fiberglass bat/roll insulation has an R value of R30. 3.2 times 9.5 is equal to 30. 93. In masonry concrete construction using empirical design, the seal of a design professional is not required if the provisions of underscore are used. TMS 402/ACI 530/ASCE 5 CH.5